We're going to start by opening up the Visual Studio. Okay, once this opens, the first thing that we're going to do is, you can see the toolbox here. If you don't see the toolbox, if it's on the side like this, you're going to click it, and then you're going to click the pin to pin it to your desktop. Okay, then you're going to go to File, New Project, and you're going to choose Windows Forms Application. Then you're going to go down into the name box. You're going to rename your project. We're going to use camel case, so a capital H and a capital W, and then click OK. Okay, if you're not seeing this, if it looks different, then you need to let me know. Okay, next over here in the toolbox, you're going to double click button, and then we're going to double click it again, and that's going to create two buttons. Okay, don't double click the object, because if you double click the object, what's going to happen is it's going to start writing the code for you. You don't want to start writing the code right now. Okay, so what you're going to do, we're going to move these to where we want them. We're going to keep them in order. Okay, notice the snap lines too, so we can line it up. Then we're going to click on the object. We're going to go over here under Properties. Okay, we want to rename it. We want to give it a name so it says what it's supposed to be. So the text property, I'm going to change to Push Me, so the user knows what to do. And then I'm going to scroll all the way to the top. Okay, if you don't see the name at the top, just click the alphabetical and it'll change it. We're going to change it. We're going to change the name. You always want to keep the name of the object. We're going to start with a lowercase letter, and then we're going to put whatever we want to call it. So push, something descriptive, something that describes what it does. Now, I think in the book that it uses an abbreviation, so BTN, push, button, but that's fine because we know that BTN stands for button, so that's fine. So either BTN, or you can use the whole word button, or you can put push button, you can put the type of object behind it. It doesn't matter. Okay, again, don't double click. Excuse my double clicking. Okay, now we're gonna rename this Exit. So remember, the text property is what the user sees. Okay, we're going to go up to the name property, and we're going to give it a descriptive name. So we're going to call this one Button Exit, because that's descriptive. Okay, then we're going to double click Label. This is going to put a label on our form. This is where we're going to display the message. Okay, we want to change the name property, so LBL for label, and then message, because it's where the message is going to display. We want nothing in the text. Nothing at all. So we're just going to delete that. Now that kind of makes the label disappear, but you can pull down this up here and you can find it. Okay, the next thing we want to do is change the form. Okay, we don't want it to be just, don't double click. We don't want it to be just form, so we're going to change the text property again. Remember, text property is always what the user sees. So we're going to change this to Hello World. Now, rather than changing the name in the name property here, we're going to actually change it up here. So we're going to right click. We're going to change the name to, we're just going to change it to Hello World. Something descriptive again. Don't change the VB. Don't delete the VB. Leave it just like that. Don't change it. Okay, just click yes here. Okay, what that's doing is just changing it every place where it's related. Okay, now once we have all this done, okay, this is just all the properties for the form. Now we can start our coding. Okay, this is our code. Now, if we click on the code, you can see that it has button 2. We don't have a button 2 anymore because remember we changed it to exit button. So what we're going to do is just delete everything. Make sure you keep the public class, hello world, and the end class. Okay, if you don't keep this, you're going to mess everything up. So keep those. If you're deleting stuff, you can just keep those. Okay, now we're going to double click push me. Now notice how it changed. Button push underscore click. That's the name of the button. We're going to comment. We always comment. Now it's important to comment as you code. Comments are something that the programmer sees, not something that the user sees. So we're just going to write down here what kind of what it does. Okay, next we're going to do, we want to display the message in the label. So label message dot text, because we're changing the text property, equals, means we're assigning a value to the text property, and then we're just going to put hello world. Or you can put whatever you want in here. As long as it's in quotes, you can put whatever you want. Okay, so that's going to display that in there. Okay, then we're going to go back to the form. We're going to double click the exit button. Okay, again, we're going to comment this. So what this does is it just closes the form. Okay, and then we're going to just do close. That's all it is. It's a method. It closes the form. It closes all operations. Okay. Next, we're going to put some information up at the top. You always want to tell whatever programmer is coming behind you a little bit about the program. So we're going to do the program name is going to be Hello World. Okay, then we're going to put the programmer name, so you want to put your name on it. Okay, if you want, you can put the date. Okay, and then a little description about what the program does. Okay, so now notice on the left we have it's all yellow. That just means we haven't compiled it, we haven't debugged it, we don't know if it works. Okay, so don't worry about that. The yellow just means we haven't debugged it yet. Okay. Also, look over on the left. You see that there's no usable controls. That's because I'm in the code. I can't put a button in my code. Okay, I can write about a button in my code, but I can't put a button in my code. So if you want to get those back, you need to go back into your design, and then all of those should appear. Okay, we're going to press the start button to run it to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. Okay, make sure you check every part. Now down here in the console window, it's going to tell us whether or not it's working, if there's any errors, things like that. So you can watch the console window, see what happens. This is fine, so we're not going to have any errors. Or we shouldn't have any errors anyway. Okay, and here it is right here. I'm going to push. It displays the message hello world, and then exit, and it closes the program. Okay, so that seems to work. That's excellent. So we're good. When you run the program, it automatically saves it. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to go into, you're going to go into My Documents. Okay, you're going to go into Visual Studio 2013. You're going to go into the Project folder. You're going to right-click on Hello World. This is the first time that you see the name of the project. That's where you want to zip it. And then we're going to send to compressed or zipped file. This is what you're going to turn into me, this zipped file. Okay, now if we open it up, you can see what all is in there. Okay, so we get the Hello World folder, of course. Okay, then if you click it again. Okay, this one, the second one right here, this is if you want to just open up the program. If I were to double click this, it would open up Visual Studio, and it would open up the project, so it would go right into the project. Okay, then I click here. This first one here, this is actually your code. Okay, so if I double click that, you can see it opens up in Notepad. Okay, so this is the code. This is exactly what you wrote. Okay, you can look at it, you can see. Okay, down here, this .designer, this is actually the code that Visual Studio wrote that talks about your code. This is the form that you designed. So as you were designing, it wrote something. So like this, me button.push location. So this tells you where on the screen it is, gives you the name, shows you the size of the button, shows you the tab index. We'll talk about that later. The text push me, that's what it says, and then the back color, which is like the background color of it. So this is what Visual Studio writes for you. Okay, so you don't have to write it. Okay, then if you want to go a little bit deeper, if you double click on bin, and then you double click on debug, sorry, you're going to see this one application. It's an application type. This is actually your exe file. This is actually the application. So you could send just this to somebody and it would run the Hello World program. Now don't send just this to me because then I actually can't grade your project because I can't see your code because this is the compiled code. So this is like the same thing like if you bought Windows, this is what you get. You get the compiled code. You don't actually get to see the code unless it's open source. Okay, so we're just going to move up and I'm going to show you. So the zip file that we have, keep going up, and one more, sorry. Okay, this right here, this zipped folder, that's what you're going to turn into me. That compressed zipped folder, that's what you're going to turn in. Okay, that has everything in it that I need in order to grade your program. I can check your form properties, I can check your code, everything. Okay, now, if you're having problems, if any of this doesn't look the same way as it does here, then what you need to do is you need to send me screenshots. Don't ask your friends, don't just wallow in your misery because you can't figure it out. Send me a screenshot, let me know, okay?